All right, amazing. Anybody joining in, we're just going to give it a second for anyone else to join in tonight. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate that. Just going to give it another quick second. Let everyone filter in from the waiting room here. All right, amazing. I love that. I love seeing that attendee list creep up here. Okay, so we're going to get started here. Anyone joining in, this is being live streamed on Facebook. We are recording this, so if you missed anything at the very beginning, no worries on that. So my name is Sarah. I work with the Jennifer Jones team, and we are so excited tonight to talk about sun, sand, and real estate. Your Yucatan adventure begins. And I think especially for all of us stuck here in Ontario, we're dreaming of sandy beaches and somewhere where we don't have to shovel snow. So I'm so excited to welcome our speakers in here tonight. We have Vincent here. He's a managing partner at CanMex Business Consultants, and he holds a real estate marketing license in Mexico. And we have our other special guest speaker, Brian. He is the CEO of SoBankable, and they're a Canadian institution that finances Canadians buying in Mexico and, again, escaping this horrible winter cold. So before I turn it over, everyone joining the call, we want your questions. We want to know everything that you are dying to know about buying in Mexico. We have the Q&A open at the bottom here. So we are going to do our presentation first to make sure we get through all of this great knowledge. But throw your questions in. We will make sure to get to all of them at the end of this presentation. So gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what we need to know about buying in Mexico.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Nice to see you all here, and all that will come back later. Is the great thing of technology. If we have meetings, if we have whatever, we can see it later. Thank you very much. My name is Vicente Herrera. I have a dual citizenship. I'm a Canadian and I'm a Mexican. I was born and raised in Mexico. Then I moved for 12 years to Vancouver, and I was 1 year in Toronto, and then back to Mexico. I escaped from the weather. Though I love Canada, my kids still live in Vancouver, and I go back and forth. I've been in the real estate for over 20 years, and since a year and a half ago, I have been professionalizing selling real estate, especially to Canadians and Americans and Europeans. And not all Mexico. Let me start with my presentation. Let's go with the presentation. Okay. Here we go. Okay. I specialize in not in all areas. I do have partners, and we have offices in each of these areas. I specialize mainly in the Yucatan Peninsula, which is Merida, Campeche, Cancun, Tulum, Playa del Carmen. I also do Mexico City, San Miguel Allende, and early next year, I will also do Puerto Vallarta. Okay. Okay, CanMex, as Sarah told you, it's a Canadian company that, through its Mexican subsidiary, Andromeda Broker International, helps Canadian and Europeans to buy real estate in Mexico. I'm a licensed agent in Mexico, and we're partnering with the Jennifer Jones team. So through them, you can get to us, and we can help you all the way to buy real estate in Mexico. The same thing I would do if I have a Mexican customer wanting to buy in Toronto. As I say, I specialize in these areas, and I integrate a team of experts when I need some expert. I have a wide network of lawyers, immigrant lawyers, notaries, the whole thing, to help my foreign buyers to do everything the perfect to buy in Mexico. In our team, we basically represent buyers, and we work with top brokers. Whenever we we sell a property, it doesn't matter if it's in our portfolio or not, because we have several properties in our portfolio, but as I told you before, we also represent buyers. So for example, someone can probably wants to buy a house, an old house, a colonial house in Merida downtown, which is not in the portfolio, but definitely we will help them to find whatever they want. We look after our customers, and we make sure there's legal certainty, there's if it's possible, in this case, appreciation and return of investment, good location, and developers and builders prestige. You have to be very, very careful who you buy, because especially right now, Merida is booming right now, and all the Yucatan Peninsula. And unfortunately, there are many developers that they're just starting in the business, and they do pre-sales, and then you can get into some problems in there. So that's why we have offices and local people, the top brokers, in each of the areas we cover. Okay, why to sell? Today we're going to talk about especially Yucatan state. Many people think Yucatan, it's Merida, Cancun, Tulum, Playa del Carmen, but the state of Yucatan, it's basically Merida, from no places, Merida, Progreso, Valladolid are the most known places. Tulum, Playa del Carmen, and Cancun, they're in Quintana Roo. Today, we're not going to talk about Quintana Roo. We're just going to talk about Yucatan state, and especially Merida. But remember, we do also cover all other regions. I'm sure we're going to also do some other seminars in each of the areas we cover. Why Yucatan and Merida especially is booming right now? Right now, Merida is booming. One of the main economics of Yucatan is tourism. Tourism has always been very, very important for Merida and for Yucatan state. This has also created very high demand on vacation homes, rental properties, and now we also see some people retiring. I see lots of Canadians. Why? Because you sell through the Jennifer Jones teams. You sell your property in Toronto for, let's say, $1 million or something like that. Then you can come to a milder weather or hot weather. And that you can, with that money, the cost of living here is also much, much, much less than it is there. So prices are still very affordable in Merida, much more than Quintana Roo, Tulum, Cancun, or Quintana Roo, or even San Miguel Allende. But the return on investment, it is very, very high, especially in the north of Merida. Also, the medical care, the medical system in Merida, it's really, really good. You have doctors fully bilingual, one of the best systems in private systems in all Mexico, probably the fourth one. Actually, it's even better than Cancun. Many people are amazed about this because Cancun is a big city. Yes, Cancun has an amazing airport, one of the best airports in Latin America. But guess what? Health system is way better in Merida than Cancun. And basically, Cancun's economy is based on tourism, whereas Merida, there's many other things. There's a video that Sarah will share with you, so you can see everything that's going on in Merida and why the economy is booming. There are companies like Amazon that has an office there, Walmart, and if they do that, it's because probably, I guess, they know a little bit more than we do. Also, the Yucatan Peninsula, especially Merida, is the second safest city in America. After Quebec City is the first one, and the second one, it's Merida. This has to do with different things. Why is it so safe? Well, it's because it has only a few points of entering and exiting the city. Police cover all those areas. Their technology is the top notch in Mexico. They have been ahead always, even though they're the safest city in Mexico and the second one in America. And it's funny, but also people from Merida, they like to talk and they like to get and see what's around. So if they see a car that they have never seen that's been parked there for 5 or 6 or 7 hours, they will probably call the police because there's something not quite right. So for many things, it's been the safest city in America. Okay, where is Merida best area to invest or live? Well, the new area for some people, and especially many expats, they like Merida downtown. Why? Because the colonial city, you walk in the city, you walk in the downtown. But Merida Norte is the area where you can get a better return of investment. Right now, more or less, you're getting between 15 to up to 20% yearly appreciation in whatever you buy in the north of Merida. That without counting any income for rent or others. Okay, I want to share with you some the cost of living between Toronto and Merida. Consumer prices in Merida are 39% lower than in Toronto without rent. Rent in Merida is 50% lower than Toronto. Restaurant prices are 38% lower than Toronto. Here, and if any of you want all this information, I'll be happy to share it with you. For example, a meal for 2 people in a mid-range restaurant in Toronto is around 110 Canadian dollars, whereas in Merida is $64. Domestic beer, probably you don't want a beer right now in Toronto, but you do want one in Merida, is $8.50 in Toronto, where Merida is $4. A cappuccino is $5 in Toronto, $4.89 in Merida. Let's say milk, $3.74 in Toronto, $2.11 in Merida, 43% less. Eggs, let's say eggs is $4.61 in Merida, $2.77 in Toronto. Transportation, the start rate of a taxi in Merida in Toronto is $5, whereas in Merida is $2.33. A Toyota Corolla is $29,394 Canadian dollars, whereas in Merida is 26. That's a Toyota. For a Volkswagen Golf, 32,000 against 19,000. That's 40% less. Utilities, basically in Toronto, $215, whereas in Merida, $216. Internet, $75 against $42. Okay, and cinema movies, $16 against $7. That's 56% less. So cost of living is way lower in Merida than Toronto. Okay, apartment. Okay, we will go through some developments we have, so you can have a sense of what are the price like in Merida. Now, another thing, important thing, healthcare. I will tell you a personal experience, and I just spoke with a Canadian about an hour ago. In Toronto, the healthcare system index is 74.92, whereas in Merida is 82.55. Here's the skill and competency. Toronto 74 against 84 in Merida. Speed in completing examinations, 63% in Toronto, 80% in Merida, and I'm not sure about that. I think Toronto should be lower, or all Canada. Accuracy and completeness of filling out reports, 37 with 80. Waiting times, 48.42 in Toronto, and in Merida, 71.43. I think probably Canada is lower and Mexico is faster. Let me tell you about this personal experience. I had a Canadian that bought a place in Merida. He arrived yesterday to Merida. Last week, he torn his Achilles tendon, and he called me and he says, hey, Vincent, guess what? My Achilles tendon was torn. No matter what, I'm moving to Merida. Everything is ready. I'm there on Wednesday. And I will need surgery. I need probably I could have surgery in Canada within 6 months. So he arrived yesterday to Merida. He had a doctor's appointment today, MRI today, and he will have surgery next week. So that's why I say it's completely different. Also in Mexico, you don't have to go through a family doctor. Like he went directly with a specialist of orthopedics or whatever, right? You can go directly with a cardiologist with whomever you want. Okay, let's talk very quickly about weather. Weather in Merida, we're in December, between 31 and 18%, 2 days of rain. Okay, the hottest month in Merida are April, May, June, and probably July. You can see there April 36.21, May 37.23, June 36.23, July 35.23. Then it starts going a little bit lower. And if you see, there's almost no rain. Okay, another important thing. I'm here just, WestJet has direct flights, Toronto, Merida. November through December 17th, once a week. December 18th through April 14th, twice a week. April the 15th till May the 5th, once a week on Tuesdays. There's also, I mean, you can get to Merida many different ways through the US or through Cancun. Cancun to Merida driving, it's around 3 hours. That's also another important thing of Merida. The distance to Cancun and with the Mayan train is going to be like 1.5 hours, 2 hours. And it's important because Cancun is one of the most important airports in America. Okay, I'm going to go very quickly. All this information is in my webpage, and I can share it with you anytime. Green is a development in the north of Merida. It's for delivery in December 2025. You can find an apartment of 763 square feet for around 130,000 US dollars. There's yes, this is an apartment, but there are lots of amenities, as you can see: Garuda gym, games room, grill zone, the cave, kids room, swimming pool, is a gated community, meditation zone, business center, paddle court. So you really go to enjoy life. Saguan is a mixed-use development with 104 apartments, 6 penthouses, 8 office spaces, and 3 commercial spaces. Located in one main areas of Merida. The tower consists of 7 different apartments. The apartments are going from 1,100 square feet, I'm closing numbers, to 5,500. Prices ranging from $260,000 US dollars to $1,235,000. Delivery January 2025. Okay, Olamar Now we will go to the beach, okay? Olamar, it's around 300 meters from the beach. It's a complex of 32 apartments of 1,300 square feet. And each apartment, it starts at 233. You can also generate income from these apartments. They offer management services for your rent. It is located 10 kilometers from Chulú, Puerto Yucatan. It has sea views, 2 balconies, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, social living area, pool areas, bar and grill, a roof with hamlets and swings in the area, apartments, and many other amenities. Magnata is a luxury complex located in Progreso Tel Chac. These apartments go from 3,600 square feet to 5,100 square feet, and prices go from $655 to $792,000 US. This is beachfront, okay? This is the luxury. The other, it's also luxury, but it's not beachfront. Now I'm going to very quickly about premium residential lots. We have Pareo Tropical Living. There are only 9 lots available, and lots go from 2,600 square feet all the way to 6,000, and prices from 53,000 to 121,000 US. This includes amenities, clubhouse, gym, paddle tennis court, business center, children's playground, bar, event hall, viewpoint, juice bar, jogging track, yoga, swim lane, multi-purpose court. Infinity Merida. Infinity Merida is the most important development in Merida right now for delivery in November 2025. It has a clubhouse, a sky deck, a lakeside, a huge garden, and a beach club. It will also have a beach club in let's call it Progreso, 25 minutes from the development. You will have also a shuttle that will take you to the beach club back and forth. The apartments are ranging from 1,100 square feet to 2,100. Prices from $302,000 all the way to $600,000. And Torre Triada, it's a mixed-use vertical project. Torre Triada has office spaces, 30 hotel suites, and 44 apartments. Torre Triada, commercial premises, well, from 1900, starting at $326,000 US. Suites 628, starting at 144 US. 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, from 620 square feet. They start at 172,000, and offices, delivery May 2024. And also, I'm going to talk very quickly about Valladolid. We can also probably program another seminar talking about Valladolid. It's beautiful, it's amazing. I think it's going to be kind of the new San Miguel Allende, cheaper, and I like it very much. And it also has cenotes, the thing that San Miguel Allende doesn't have. Here we have Sayana, apartments, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, ranging from 721 all the way to 1,300 square feet, approximately $139,000. We will also have we have also houses ranging from 2,200 to 2,500 square feet, from 209,000 all the way to 253, and we also have residential lots. We have other things in Cancun, as I told you, and Campeche, that we can cover that another day. And guess what? You don't have to pay cash for all this. We have an alliance also with SoBankable, which is also a Canadian company. So it's amazing. A Canadian selling to Canadians with Canadian financing companies. So I'm going to leave you with Brian, CEO of SoBankable, so he can explain a little bit about what he does and how he can help you to get your dream home with financing without residency in Mexico or without credit history in Mexico. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Vincent. Can you stop sharing the screen?
Sure.
I'm just going to jump. I'll just jump on here. So thank you all for attending tonight. My name is Brian Menges, and I'm actually based in Edmonton, Alberta. The palm tree, of course, is just a filter in the background. Our company, the parent company is Capling Financial Corp, which has been lending in Canada for over 26 years. 3 years ago, we started SoBankable with the intent on lending to Canadians and Americans who want to own real estate in countries other than their home jurisdiction. So we are licensed to lend across Canada. We are licensed to lend in 35 states in the United States. And then in Mexico, we are working on lending in 6 of the major destination areas, which Vincent has touched on. There's Yucatan, Quintana Roo, and several other areas here. And how it works, it's actually quite simple in concept. We've been a private mortgage lender in Canada. We are providing financing to Canadians. We underwrite the loans in Canada, and for all intents and purposes, the mortgage is being made in Canada, and we just register on real estate in Mexico. Our loans are amortized over 30 years. They have no prepayment penalty. Our maximum loan to value is 70%. We currently don't provide construction financing, but we are working on that. We provide the long-term takeout financing when a person is buying the end product. We are the only lender, Canadian lender, that's working in Mexico right now. And we are the only one that's lending in Canadian currency. We have our own funds. We're not a broker. So when we commit on a deal, we know we can fund the deal. So what you get from us is, again, financing in Canada, US, and Mexico, that's in Canadian dollars. That's been advantageous, obviously, to the Canadians we finance, because generally, they all are making Canadian currency. They still have incomes in Canada, and so they service their loans. So we just take the payments right out of their Canadian bank account each month. We've tried to simplify the process as much as possible. It is not straightforward when it comes to getting financing in Mexico or establishing a credit facility for someone, but we have worked with our legal counsel to make it very simple. And we help individuals all the way through, even with the currency exchange. We've established a trading facility in-house, and we've been able to ensure that our clients get the best exchange that they can, saving them money on that exchange. As Vincent said, the Merida, for example, is one of the safest cities in Mexico, actually in North America. That's including Canada, the US, and Mexico. There is a paper that we wrote. It's called The Case for Investment in Mexico. It's worked very well with individuals who are interested in moving to Mexico, but are concerned about being in a foreign country and some of the problems that can arise there. It's on the website. Feel free to take it. But I can assure you right now, Mexico is a better destination than many places in the United States. And the reason we're excited about lending in Mexico is we're seeing increases in value literally on a daily basis. There's been such an insurgence of Canadians and Americans not only looking to buy second homes in Mexico, but actually move there to live in either currently when they're still working and they work remotely, or in their retirement. We haven't seen that in the United States. With the Canadians we deal with in the United States, they truly want a second home, but they're not going to live in the United States. To Vincent's comment earlier, many cities in Mexico have medical services that are as good as or or even in some instances better than we've seen in Canada. And the turnaround time for getting medical attention is actually faster down there than what we have at home. So when we look at areas we're going to finance, we check for international, access, medical facilities, and of course, the amenities that are in the area. So it's an exciting time, and we're happy to lend there. We have tools on our website. What I don't have a slide deck for you. I like to go to our website. We have tools on here. When we finance people, there is some things you have to learn about buying real estate in Mexico. And one is that the closing costs in Mexico are considerably higher than what you would experience in buying a similar property in Canada and the US. But it ends there. Once, as Vincent pointed out, once you acquire the property, it becomes very inexpensive to maintain. For example, in the paper I referred you to, I did a comparison between purchasing in Newport Beach and Puerto Vallarta on a similar property in the United States. The Ocean View property that I compared to, its property taxes alone were $66,000 a year. The property taxes on the comparable property in Puerto Vallarta were less than $1,000. So there's areas where, even though the front end is a little more expensive coming in, you'll get your money back quite quickly. So I'm just loading up. This is on our website. Anybody can use it. And what we do here is not only do we demonstrate to you what it costs to get our financing, but more importantly, we show you the closing costs. So if you go here, you can buy real estate in Mexico in US dollars or Mexican pesos. We lend in Canadian dollars. So we have modeled all three currencies here, and they have live feeds. So these are in real time. And what you see here is the property value, our 70% loan to values, our maximum loan to value right now. So we show you what loan amount you can have and what your monthly payments would be. But more importantly, for this discussion, we also tell you what your potential closing costs would be. Now, these are just an estimate, but this just gives you an idea. You have notary fees. These are all third-party fees that your real estate agent and your lender have no control over. Land transfer is one of the largest components of these closing costs, but you have to register, there's foreign fees, etc. So these are closing costs. So when we're dealing with you or a client that you might send our way, we educate the client on what it's going to cost to close. And so when we're underwriting the loan, we're not just looking for the down payment, we're looking for a reasonable amount of money to close the deal. Our background in lending is we're not a bank. We are a private mortgage lender, again, situated in Edmonton. So our style of lending is more asset-based than cash flow-based. So we look for four things when we're underwriting a loan. We look for a reasonable amount of income to service the debt, but we have a higher tolerance on debt service ratios than a typical bank would have. We also take into consideration, if you're buying the property to rent, we will factor in some of that potential rental income. In the markets that Vincent was referring to right now, they're experiencing higher than normal rental incomes on those properties. We don't distinguish between a rental and just a vacation property when it comes to our interest rates. It's just we treat them the same. You don't get penalized for having a rental property. So we're looking for the credit on the four elements we have that when it comes to qualifying you. It's a sufficient income, it's a credit score of 660 or higher. It is this amount, that we try to approximate the amount of money you're going to need to close the deal. And we make sure that you have sufficient funds so that you don't get into a closing and then you have to desperately go find more money. And then the fourth element is an appraisal, which is not the responsibility of the borrower. We get that done. And those are the 4 basic elements. No different than if you're getting qualified for a loan in Canada, except, again, because we're a private lender, we don't dive as deep into people's incomes and like business for self. We don't torture them with getting nothing but their financial statements for years and years. We can make certain assumptions on what their cash flow will be, and that's because we're only lending to 70% loan to value, where in Canada we would lend to higher loan to values. With regard to our lending in Canada, the US, and Mexico, we're the only lender that can cross-collateralize on different assets. For example, we had a gentleman who rented an apartment in Vancouver, owned a house in Palm Springs, wanted to buy a property in Mexico. We would leverage he didn't have an asset in Canada to borrow against, but we leveraged his property in Palm Springs to give him money sufficient to close quickly on a property in Mexico. He then proceeded to liquidate the Palm Springs residence, and we shifted the entire financing down to the property in Mexico. So we try to be as accommodating as possible, and we have now gained extensive experience in closing these deals, and we can make it much easier than you think. Especially, for example, our law firm was founded by a Canadian, and they have 54 lawyers, all of which are bilingual and specialize in dealing with Canadians and Americans buying in Mexico. So we have a lot of utilities, a lot of features and resources that allow us to simplify the process. And if there's any questions today, by all means ask, and then otherwise feel free to contact me directly if you have any questions in the future. Sarah, is there any questions?
Amazing. I am just going to check here and see in the Q&A. Guys, again, as I said, any questions, throw them in the Q&A down here. We want to make sure that we get to everything. I think that was a lot of knowledge coming at us over the last little while there. So any clarifications, throw them in here. So I'm starting out. Vicky has commented here, is there a special visa that one would need in order to purchase real estate in Merida? And do you have a contact of someone who helps with that process if that is something that's required?
Vincent?
Thank you. You don't need a special visa to buy in Merida as a foreign. What you do need in Merida is you need a bank trust, okay? And a bank trust, many people are kind of scared. Oh, but I'm not going to get control. Yes, you do get control because you're the beneficiary, and everything is done only by the beneficiary. So, and this is just because there's a law in Mexico where foreigners cannot own real estate within 50 kilometers from the ocean lane or 100 kilometers from borders. And Merida is within those 50 kilometers. If we go to Valladolid, Valladolid is not within those 50 kilometers. Actually, in SoBankable, Brian has a great video that explains in 3 minutes what a fideicomiso is. And actually, if you want to buy with financing, SoBankable only finances through a fideicomiso. It is, it has absolutely legal certainty. Well, as I said, if you buy in Merida, you will need a fideicomiso. If you buy through SoBankable, you will need a fideicomiso. Doesn't matter where you're buying, but you don't need a visa. Of course, if you're planning, like I have some clients, the client I was telling you, Canadian client has a surgery next week. He got his visa because he moved to Mexico to move permanently. And we do have a network of lawyers that can help you with residency if you want but it is not necessary to buy real estate.
Okay, so if you're looking to, escape Canada forever, get down there for a longer period of time, yes, you would need some of those visa requirements. But if it's an investment property, something that you're using, not 365, then there's other requirements, but a visa is not one of them.
Yes,
Yes,
that's
Sarah, I
correct.
think there's even a remote worker visa. So
Oh, amazing.
yeah, don't quote me on that. But I did run into a client that I believe they were getting a remote worker, which we still haven't developed in Canada, but Mexico jumped into that. And for those of you that don't know what a remote worker visa is, it entitles you to stay long-term in the country, but so long as you don't take employment in the country. So they'll gladly take your grocery money and your rental and your whatever else you're going to spend. And you're welcome to stay as long as you want, but you just don't take employment away from a resident.
And I think with the winter we have ahead of us, that sounds really good for a lot of people, right? You're back here in the summer and you never have to shovel snow again. So that's definitely an option. So it sounds like, again, Vicky, if you or your clients are looking to move down there again a little more permanently, Vincent, they do have contacts and people that can help out with that process, people that know what they're doing. And second question here. So if your Spanish is limited, how is it for somebody, getting around in Yucatan with like shopping, banking, services? Is that workable if you don't really have great Spanish skills?
Absolutely, Sarah. I do have clients that they don't speak Spanish, and in Merida has been receiving lots of tourists for many, many, many years. Even if you go to the ruins to Chichen Itza, wherever you are, they'll speak English. So you don't need the language to live. Of course, if you want to apply for a job, probably will need Spanish. But besides that, no problem.
Love that. So again, helpful, but not, because these are tourist friendly areas, you're able to get around and do what you need to do. Even though, picking up a few phrases, I'm sure is easier when you're immersing yourself in the culture.
Yes, absolutely. If you only speak French, then you might be in a little bit of trouble.
All right. Do we have any more questions, guys? Throw it in the Q&A here while we have Brian and Vincent with us. Again, we'll make sure you gentlemen explain your contact information before we go. And as Vincent mentioned earlier, we do have a video that we will be able to send out, just giving a little bit more information and extra things that you can research on your own after this call. So do we have any other questions in here? Right. Oh, I have, yes. Request for the contact information. Absolutely. So, gentlemen, how can people get a hold of you? If they're sold on this and absolutely we want to buy in Yucatan, get somewhere sunny, what does that look like? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Would you like to put yours, Brian, and then let me share my screen?
Sure. Just for SoBankable is our website. So if you go there, just hit on the contact button here. And that's the simplest way. And then you can reach us. All contact information is here, and we're available. Pretty much we get our emails all 7 days a week. So if there's any questions, we can get to them fairly quickly.
Amazing. So that's SoBankable.ca for anyone that can't see that. And again, we will be, when we're blasting out this video, we will blast out this information as well. And Vincent, love a good QR code. So anybody wanting to take a screenshot of this is the best way to reach out. And you can also take a shot of that QR code with your phone.
Yes, the website CanMexRealestate.com. And my Canadian phone number, 604-357-3796. And well, all the information is in the webpage, and the QR code, you can take a picture. Or through you guys.
Absolutely.
I'm easy to find.
I love that. We want everyone to get it tonight in case they can't wait until we blast everything out this week. If they're raring to go, right? I had to shovel my car this morning, and I definitely, sunny, beautiful beaches and amazing Mexican food and drink. Sounds pretty good, especially with those prices that you showed us earlier.
Oh, yes.
Love that. All right. So if we don't have any more questions, thank you everybody for joining in tonight. Thank you so much, Brian and Vincent, for coming on, doing this with our team and sharing your expertise with everyone. This was wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Brian. Thank you all. Thank you to the whole Jennifer Jones team. Whatever you need, feel free to contact me anytime. And I'm sure early next year we will talk about other areas. Well, see you in Merida. Let's start with Merida.
Love that. We will see you in Merida. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and we will blast out this contact information and that video. Take care, everyone.
Thank you very much. You as well. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.